If you've been following the news, you'll know that former UFC lightweight champion Charles Oliveira, aka Do Bronx, has confirmed that he will be fighting Beneil Dariush at UFC 288. A lot of other pros are talking about it because this is huge. The pay-per-view event is set for May 6 and will mark Oliveira's big return to the UFC. Some see this as a make-or-break moment for the fighter. Chael Sonnen put out a whole YouTube video expressing his thoughts on the situation, saying that if Oliveira loses, we may never see him in the UFC again. Whoever wins this upcoming match will definitely make their case for a title shot against Islam Makhachev. Some argue that Dariush is more deserving of a title shot. But circumstances come up, and the title shot could potentially go to Oliveira again if he can defeat Beneil. The most recent fight we've seen him in was at UFC 280, in which he lost his lightweight title to Islam Makhachev, the current champion. Prior to that, Oliveira had a winning streak of 11 fights. In that streak, he had wins over Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, and Tony Ferguson. While this loss might not paint the best picture of the fighter, it sets the stage for his return. It also puts him in the mindset of fixing his mistakes so he can be even better in this upcoming bout. So where does that leave him? Despite losing his title, Oliveira is still ranked among the top lightweights, while Dariush is ranked number 4. Oliveira has been called one of the UFC's strongest submission threats and has been able to utilize striking in the setup for submissions. His style is a well-rounded combination of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and boxing. That makes him great at handling fighters on the ground and at a distance. Recently, he's posted some clips showing off some of the training he's been undergoing for the fight. When asked about the matchup, other pro fighters in the industry noted that Oliveira has an edge in the matchup. Billy Quarantillo noted that Oliveira reached a new level of talent before losing his streak. Because of that, Quarantillo thinks Charles will win the fight. Malcolm Gordon, another pro fighter, also had good things to say about Oliveira's odds. The UFC flyweight fighter praised the former champ's jiu-jitsu and striking prowess. Let's consider some of those fights Oliveira won during his streak. First, we'll look at his victory over Justin Gaethje. The two duked it out at UFC 274. After the fight started, Oliveira managed to catch his opponent with a solid hit. Gaethje recovered, and the two exchanged blows. Gaethje was then able to drop the Brazilian fighter twice in the match, but he couldn't capitalize on either of those instances. When Oliveira managed to pull guard and get both fighters to the ground, his opponent withdrew, not wanting to engage on the ground. They continued the fight on their feet until Oliveira dropped his opponent with a right hook. With his opponent on the ground, he worked on getting that submission finish. The result was exactly that. Gaethje tapped out, and Oliveira won the first round. In that fight, he displayed versatility and pounced on his opponent's weakness. In another fight against Michael Chandler, the former champion employed similar techniques. The first round between the two had a mix of striking and grappling. Both fighters seemingly had the upper hand at different points in the fight. Oliveira nearly had his head trapped in a guillotine for a submission. Shortly after, Chandler nearly got stuck in a rear naked choke. When the second match started, the two were quickly engaged in a striking match. Oliveira was able to knock his opponent to the ground and keep up the pressure until the referee called the match, giving him the win via technical knockout. In both matches, we see a fighter who's versatile and able to adapt and overcome his opponents by exploiting their weaknesses. Although they have a similar skill set, Oliveira is well versed in the areas that matter. Like Gordon said, his prowess as a grappler and striker make him a force to be reckoned with. That gives him an edge in the fight against Beneil Dariush. Beneil is no slouch. He's currently on an 8-fight winning streak with his most recent victory against Mateusz Gamrot at UFC 280, the same event in which Oliveira lost his title. Because his highlights are more recent, he's seen as the one who's more likely to take this fight. The odds makers are only leaning towards Dariush in this matchup because his accomplishments are more recent and Oliveira's loss is fresh in everyone's mind. He's known for his grappling capabilities, but has shown confidence in his striking as well. When asked to comment on the upcoming fight, Michael Chandler noted the similarities between the two fighters. The former 3-time Bellator champion commented on how the two experienced grapplers might cancel each other out in that arena. He notes that would then leave the match to a drag-out slugfest. Let's take a look at Dariush's most recent victory. In the first round of his bout with Mateusz Gamrot, there was a lot of back and forth between the two fighters. Gamrot went for multiple takedowns, some of which were successful, and left both fighters scrambling. Once they were back on their feet, Dariush went in for lots of kicks. Several body kicks connected, and Dariush fended off multiple submission attempts, with the judges scoring that first round 10-9 in his favor. The second round almost builds off of the first. Dariush landed even more kicks on his opponent, while Gamrot became reckless, trying to get more takedowns. In this round, Dariush also found more confidence in his punches. Gamrot tried to do the same, using them as a way to transition into takedowns. The judges scored this round the same as the first, 10-9 for Dariush. At that point, the total was 20-18. In the final round, Dariush played defense a little more. Out of the gate, he fired off a jab and fended off a grappling attempt. Dariush forced his opponent to take a hard kick and then a knee. At that point, he started retreating and letting his opponent back him into the fence. The fight stayed there until Dariush broke free and returned to the center, where he delivered a huge left hook that knocked Gamrot down. The two scrambled again, and Dariush actually took a left hook before the final round ended. With that display and trade of blows, the judges scored the fight 10-9 in favor of Dariush. With the final score of 30-27, Dariush was declared the winner by the judges' decision.
I need to dedicate this fight. My people in Iran, I know you're struggling. I know you're fighting for freedom. I know it's a tough struggle. I want you guys to know we're praying for you and we love you.
With so few moments where there was any decisive lead, it was up to the judges to determine who won. In the third round, Beneil made it count. Is he a match for Oliveira? Kind of. There's always the chance that he could pull through and win. Based on the matches, Oliveira is better at getting clear wins, since he's better at securing submissions and knockouts. He has also proven that he's capable of adapting to his opponent's strengths. He's more than capable of getting out of tricky situations on the ground and even turning them in his favor. When it comes to facing off on their feet, Oliveira still comes out on top. He's built up his punching power and can take punishment. He's the best of both fighters, primed with the motivation to take his title back. He's gone so far as to say he's hungry for it, and that he'll hunt Beneil in the ring to get it. With that kind of mindset, you know he's going into the ring to destroy. Given Oliveira's history, longer win streak, and background, we give him the edge in this fight. With all that said and done, all that's left to do is wait and see how this fight turns out. That is why Charles Oliveira is going to destroy Beneil Dariush.